listening to the Mixtape Marketing Podcast. And today, this is episode 10. And today I'm very privileged to hang out with Ali Shakur. He's a music marketer, and he's a really cool guy. He's got some great videos on YouTube. And I just want to thank you, Ali, for coming on the video. Maybe if you want to give yourself a brief introduction on the show today.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. Thank you for having me on the show as well. The name's Ali Shakur, just like Tupac Shakur.
Excellent.
And, you can find my videos on YouTube, of course. And I've been in this business going on 15 years now. And, when I first started in this business, there was an internet, but not like today. There was no Facebook, there was no Twitter. MySpace hadn't even existed yet.
Mm-hmm.
And, I came into this thing from when you had to market, you actually had to be out in the street. So, my music knowledge is old school, but, my brother is a computer programmer for a really large bank. So I've been a computer geek my entire life, which has led me into digital marketing, social media marketing, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So, combining some of my geek knowledge with my music industry knowledge, it's helped me to galvanize a strong methodology behind music marketing. Some people believe that my claim to fame is working with Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. So that's pretty much, my biggest project that I've worked on to date.
Excellent. I just wanted to thank you for coming on the show, and there's a couple of things I just want to get through. I've got my sheet notes in front of me, and I just want to. It's all about mixtape marketing, the podcast, and how artists can promote their music. So obviously they have to have a good product. What do you think about when artists are creating that good product, like music, beats, production, mixing, covers? What kind of professionalism do you think they should strive to achieve before they start investing in their marketing?
I think the first thing they have to understand is who they're talking to.
Mm-hmm.
When artists make music, sometimes they copy a lot. They'll copy somebody else's style. And I understand that, artists borrow or become inspired by other artists. So that makes sense. But to completely copy is going to do you no justice as far as creating a fan base.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the first thing is, establishing your unique style, and who you want to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
What's the message behind your music and understanding that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm a big proponent of, instead of promoting an entire mixtape, is, work your ass off in the studio, create a bunch of songs, but focus on your hook, and get that one song that everybody likes and try to get everybody attached to that one song. And then use that one song to maybe launch a, mixtape release of some sort.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Some good advice there. Now, I just wanted to talk about that video that you have. You have some really good videos, and I urge that anyone that's listening to go to his channel on YouTube. Just type in Ali Shakur, and his videos will come up. But there's one video that a lot of blogs have been talking about, and that's the one you talked about, Datpiff, and not to use Datpiff. Maybe you were like the first person to actually say this online, and I just don't know. I just really struck it like this is a bold statement, because we see like sites like Datpiff as the stronghold for mixtapes, but you kind of winched out and you said, look, guys, you can do better than this, than just Datpiff. And maybe if you just elaborate a little bit on that video.
Yeah, absolutely. To me, Datpiff is like a black hole. You put your stuff there, but you don't get much back.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're talking about being an artist and galvanizing a fan base, Datpiff, they don't give you analytics. They hold all the analytics. Also, when you think about the type of website it is, it's a website that gets paid off of advertising. So every time you send somebody to that website, they're making money and you're not. And the whole point of being a musician artist or a musician or an artist is to make money off of your music.
Yeah.
So why would you make somebody else money off music? You know, the producer got paid, you know, the graphic designer got paid, you know, everybody got paid but the artist, you know? So it's like, at what point do you start, you know, galvanizing your fan base and figuring out exactly what that is? And I think, you know, for the cost, you know, that you pay for Datpiff, it's just not worth it, you know?
Do you think that artists kind of are just afraid of setting up their own websites? That they it's the same thing with like setting up a Facebook page, that they get it for free and they think that they don't need, let's say, their own website or their own ability to harvest emails and get fans. Do you know what I mean? Get fans to sign up to their email address rather than sign up to Datpiff's one. Whereas Datpiff is like, or Facebook, or all these kind of sites are just getting data based on your work, basically. Do you think artists are afraid to set up their own websites because they don't know anything about setting up sites, or is it they're just not bothered to do it? Or are they addicted to the free Kool-Aid of using free stuff?
I think it's definitely got to do with the free stuff. I think it's a lot of laziness on the artist's behalf, because it's not that hard to set up your website, especially nowadays. You can get a website set up for less than $10. I mean, let's think about this from a cost perspective. You pay, you know, if you find a GoDaddy coupon code online, you can get a domain for $3, right? If you wanted to buy hosting from a site like GoDaddy, you can pay $50 for the year. And there's other hosting websites out there, or competitors to GoDaddy, that will offer hosting at a cheaper rate, and you'll get way more bandwidth. And you can launch your website off of there. So let's think about this from a cost perspective. When we look at Datpiff, right? If somebody wants to download your mixtape from Datpiff as a free version, they have to sign up for the website, and then they can download your mixtape for free. That's just too many steps to give somebody to get their music.
Exactly.
So in order to cut out that step, you have to pay a fee of $50. If you put out 5 mixtapes a year, what's that, $250? You could have bought and paid 2 websites or 3 websites.
And a good graphic designer.
Right, exactly. And you're in a nice graphic designer, you know? You could have had your website already. You called me, I would have got your website up for $250, you know? So from a cost perspective, Datpiff actually is going to cost you to lose more money than you will make. So yeah, to answer your question, people think that building a website is daunting when it's really not. I mean, you can go to WordPress.com and just upload your SoundCloud links there and make your music available through SoundCloud. You know?
That's really, really clever. No, I'm a firm believer of it. If I have to be honest, when I first started off online, the thought of a website was really difficult. But I appreciate the skills that I've learned because of it now as well. Do you know what I mean? I understand all this kind of stuff because and I always urge people, like, if you look at Ali's channel now, he's spreading knowledge and teaching people every day new stuff with videos on YouTube. YouTube is a great resource. It's free. It's like the best free education you could get. Like, if you were to go to college and learn like computer coding or anything like that, or all this kind of stuff, you pay a lot of money. But like, YouTube has got such great information on there, and use it, guys. That's what one thing I really have to say. Would you you'd like to?
Let's talk about that really fast. YouTube, and I can give somebody right now who wants to get their music out there, I can give them a solution right now through YouTube. You take your music, and you can do this with an Android or an iPhone, right? And record something that's the length of your song. It could be a record playing. It could be you just sitting there. Just something that happens visually. You can get creative if you want to. This is not a music video. It could be your cat. It could be a mouse inside of a cage, whatever it may be. Let's get that thing in front of the camera. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take that video. As a matter of fact, what you could do is you can take one of those booty shaking videos, rip it off of YouTube,
they, they work. As much as I don't want my kind of site to be associated with that stuff, I'm just thinking like, oh man, I'd love that 100,000 views to that video.
Right. I mean, you take Andrea Recon or any one of these booty models or twerk videos, and you just put it to your music. You kind of brainwash people into having to listen to your music. But what you can do is, no matter.
Sorry, I keep cutting you off. Look at The Weeknd. He got famous from putting just images of pretty women. He said his first images of songs online on YouTube was just from his XXO channel, and it's just pretty girls in the front of it. Like, that's all. And he said that's what people wanted to watch on YouTube. He gave an audience what they wanted. He gave them good music and a pretty girl.
Right. And it's even better when your music coincides with the imagery that you're having. So if your music comes off as maybe revolutionary, maybe you go on YouTube and find one of those protest videos and take that video and put it to your song, whatever it may be.
That's really clever now. That's just something I didn't think. Actually, we're actually in a really good points there now, and I just got something I wanted to ask you about. So when artists are online, okay, you can't be on Twitter or all these social channels or your email list promoting the music, as in a sense, listen to my song. Saying you can't be saying that message all the time. But how can artists start to create content around the music? Let's say you have a good mixtape and you're trying to promote it, like creating interviews with your producer and stuff like that, or interviews you in the studio. How do artists create that kind of content to help promote it? That's not just going listen to my song every day, every minute on Twitter.
I'm not sure if I understand your question.
I'm just saying, like, let's say you see artists online on Twitter or something, and it's just like, download my song, download my mixtape, or listen to my mixtape. That's the only content that they create. Whereas like you see like Wiz Khalifa is really clever about, Rick Ross, all these kind of artists are so clever where they create this content that's nothing to actually do with it's kind of them in the studio or kind of stuff like that, or them talking about stuff like that.
Yeah, well, you answered the question right there. Going online and just promoting just the music, it doesn't give people a reason to relate to you. The reason that you put out all this other content is so that people can relate to you. People don't buy your music, they buy you. Have you ever asked somebody, why somebody is their favorite artist? They'll always mention something in an interview with a person's favorite food or what clothing line they dress. It's always something that has nothing to do with the music, which is why people are diehard fans of the person, and the music sometimes comes second. Now, we're not talking about the diehard music fan who's just about the music. We're talking about the average listener. The average listener is like, I like Lil Wayne because he's got crazy pants on, or I like him because he skateboards. People want to know about you. What I think people should do is fucking grab your grandma and have your grandma sit there and talk about you. Childhood stories, like, gives people some good content. Let people see you in your natural habitat. Fuck doing the shit in the studio. Let people see you in your natural habitat when you're just sitting around blazing blunts, you're just having drinks with friends. Let your friends talk about you instead of you talking about yourself,
Oh, that's really clever. That's excellent. Now. That's stuff I like to hear. And I was like, I remember like when I started listening to Kid Cudi, I kind of liked that kind of stuff about him as well. There was like a lot of videos of him just talking. He kind of brought back his these memories of him being just a broken musician, like, do you know what I mean? And he kind of made everyone relate to him. He's still Kid Cudi, or he's still Scott Mescudi, do you know what I mean? Even though he's this famous star that hangs around Kanye West. I thought there was stuff that because he has this kind of this cult following with fans now. I don't think all of his music is perfect now. I think some of his songs are still good here and there. Yeah. But I just love the way that he kind of had built that cult following. Like, there's some even like a lot of bloggers and stuff say that like Cudi has this really massive fan base that are so big for him. Like,
right. Well, when we talk about marketing, the one thing that people always fail to realize is that marketing is about telling a story. Mm-hmm. And that's why when I say when it comes to social media, the best place to be is Snapchat right now, because it has that feature of my story. Marketing is about telling your story. People want to know about you. They want to know about your past. They want to know how you feel. They want to know what makes you cry. They want to know what makes you sad. They want to know how you feel about the president of the United States. They want to know, how you feel about, whatever current event it is, how you feel. They want to know the good. They want to know the bad. And that's the kind of stuff you got to give them in the content.
Mm-hmm. And I'd like to talk about, you said in one of your videos, I think it was there's a couple of, you have like 2 or 3 videos about social media. And one of the videos you talk about branding, and you talk about Instagram and using Instagram as a branding kind of vehicle. Maybe you could kind of talk about that. It's something that I'm not that familiar with, and I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, well, when we think about Twitter, we're talking about words, sentences. That kind of doesn't get embedded in the mind. But have you ever read a book, Think and Grow Rich, by Napoleon Hill? He talks about the subconscious.
Yeah.
And the subconscious is basically programmed really well with visuals and pictures, right? Video, things of that nature. And Instagram, that's all it is just pictures. So branding is a good way, branding through Instagram is a good way to embed yourself into people's subconscious using visuals. Like they say, a picture's worth 1,000 words. You spend 1,000 words on Twitter when you can post one picture on Instagram that says everything you've been tweeted about all week. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And the engagement rate on Instagram is extremely high right now. So, between Instagram and Snapchat, I think those are the best places for an artist to be from a branding perspective. When we think about people like Wiz Khalifa, when he first came out, he had that yellow patch in his hair. When we think about Nicki Minaj and, the wigs that she used to wear, it's always that Harajuku Barbie wig. When we think about Eminem when he first came out and he had the blonde hair. When we think about 50 Cent when he first came out and he had the bulletproof vest on. Imagine you're an artist and your branding visual tool is a bulletproof vest. Every single picture on Instagram, you should be with a bulletproof vest on so people can get to know you. So that when you take it away, people say, wait, where's your bulletproof vest? Mm-hmm. Also, branding, I always tell people, I say, if people can't dress up like you for Halloween, then you haven't branded yourself properly.
That's excellent. That's really, really clever. I noticed that you talked about Rick Ross and saying that everyone has to have that kind of that signature sound. When you hear it's a Rick Ross song, when it's that grunt comes in and creating those kind of personas around. So do you think that everyone should kind of find some way to be different or original in a way? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, well, also we got to understand that music is one of the most influential things ever on the planet because it has something to do with harmonic frequency or sound waves. When they talk about the pyramids in Egypt, how they were built, they speak about sound waves. When we talk about Coral Castle in Florida and how that was built, they talk about sound waves. So, when we talk about commercials, they always give you some jingle to help you remember something, right? Mm-hmm. So when we talk about these sounds allow you to brand yourself inside people's minds and gives them something to imitate. Something to imitate means that your branding message has come across. So yes, I think it's very imperative that people come up with these sounds. Now, these sounds could be a variation of things. They could be like the Rick Ross Maybach music, or his grunt. If we think about 50 Cent, I always like to compare people to the greats because there's no point in studying these middle of the ground guys. Let's study the greats. Mm-hmm. 50 Cent, when he first came out, what was his sound? You would hear the coin drop. I don't know if you remember that, but you would hear that sound of the coins dropping. He doesn't do it anymore. Mm-hmm. But, that's part of that sound branding. When we think about a guy like Jadakiss, he goes, ah! These sounds, if we think about Biggie, and his, his, his was signature, Tupac, he would say thug life. These call outs are essential to becoming a superstar. Now, you don't need them to be a regular artist, but if you want to be a superstar, you need these branding aspects.
Yes, excellent. I won't keep you on the interview too long. I'm sure you're a busy guy, and I'd like to just thank you for coming on. Just wanted to give one more last question. What do you think are something that artists should be doing for 2015 if they're starting brand new? Let's say if they went to the studio and they started brand new. What do you think is the number one thing they should start doing to help promote their mixtape this year? And something that's just new, or something that you think that might just kind of or give them that kind of drive to create, to be different, to be original, and kind of a lot of the stuff that you talk about in your videos.
I think it's tell everybody you're an artist and give them no music. It sounds crazy, but don't give them shit. If you give them something, let it be like a freestyle or something like that. But the reason why I'm saying this is, you want to build anticipation and buzz. But, I think artists oversaturate the market with music and always putting out music and it gives it no value. Going back to the point where you talked about Datpiff, artists are talking about, budget constraints. In 2015, if you don't have the money to put out music, don't fucking put it out. This is not a poor man's game. This is a rich man's game. What you need to do is you need to save your paycheck at Starbucks, wherever the hell you work, and save it. And then what you can do is, say, hey, I want to save $3,000 for my project, because what you have to do is you have to treat this like a business, because that's exactly what it is. And if your business doesn't have a marketing budget, you are going to fail. And what I always tell people is, your marketing budget should be either equal to or more than your operating budget. And your operating budget would be such things as transportation, studio, recording, mixing, mastering. All of that is operating budget, paying for your beats. That's operating budget. Now, marketing would be, your mixtape cover, your posters, your T-shirts, your giveaways, things of that nature. So if your recording costs and everything come to $1,000, you better have $1,000 saved up or better. I think it should be double for marketing. So save your money. If you don't have the budget to put out a project, I think that a minimum budget for a project should be $10,000. If you're just a little kid and you can't save up $10,000, I think at a minimum you need to be at $3,000 to about $5,000. And if you stop fucking buying Jordans and partying every weekend,
exactly, yes,
it's really easy to save this money. You just got to sacrifice. If we look at 50 Cent's story, 50 Cent will tell you when he was selling drugs, he went about 3 months with his crew where they dressed bummy. They drove the worst cars, but they did that to save up for 3 months. And after that 3 months were done, they came out and looked like $1 million. So I think the big thing we got to tell people is save your money.
Excellent. Ali, I'd really like to thank you for coming on the show. If people want to reach out to you, or if you want to give a last message about how they can get in touch with you, or if they want to watch your show on YouTube, do you want to give a last shout out there before you leave?
Yeah, just email me. I am Ali Shakur at gmail.com. That's I am Ali Shakur at gmail.com. Shoot me an email, say you heard me on this podcast, and let's talk and take it from there. If you want some, information, of course, you can go check out my YouTube channel. Just type in Ali Shakur, and all my videos pop up. Excellent,
man. This is Dan from the Corporate Thief Beats, and that was the Mixtape Marketing Podcast, episode 10 with Ali Shakur. Ali, it was great to have you on the show, and I hope in the future that maybe we could get you back on the show again. It was excellent, man. I learned a lot of things today, and I hope that everybody who's listening today learned a lot. And I would definitely bring you back on again, man. This is brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.